Yeah. UDP's going great.
Yeah, I feel like I've had such a long break from work, right?
Yup.
I've gotten so much done. I finished all those projects I had pending.
Yeah, I went skiing.
Oh,
I got to see all of my friends and family.
I watched literally every movie ever made. I've had so much time.
I finally caught up on all that reading I needed to do.
Yeah, I had time to just sort of exist for a while.
I learnt an instrument.
Yeah, gosh.
I took a holiday on the holiday.
Oh, I know. Look, if you know what you're doing, you can really make a little bit of time off work stretch out quite a bit more than it usually would, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can take that, 2 days off for the bank holidays and, just camp out near a miniature black hole.
I mean,
and before you know it, time dilation. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
The way it has stretched this 2 days into what feels like a couple of 1,000 years has been amazing. I am wondering how we're going to escape its pull and get back to work, but that's...
If we get closer, we can make it last even longer. And we can do all the other leisure things we want to do.
I mean, I was just going to say that's a problem for tomorrow us, which is getting ever further away the closer we get. So on we go.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm Laura. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet Nail.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet Dale. I was thrown. This is not the usual cadence of an intro.
Well, I fluffed it, but I tried to style it out.
you rode it through the black hole. You stretched it out a little, time dilated it.
Yep.
Hey, it's Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast. We talk about the media we've consumed in the week, and we're two queer trans women.
Except during the fortnight this time, because I was not feeling particularly hot after my booster jab.
That's entirely fair. Also, it's the Unicorn Dance Party. It's the festive season. I had some work to finish up last week, and this week it's just taking it easy.
Taking it easy.
It has some very little to do. It's been very nice. We've been very lazy.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see the lovely Phoenix.
We did?
Yeah, did a smooch. Yeah, not be gay for that one.
Not be gay, at least.
But you know what else we've done with our time off? We've played, watched, and listened to some things.
We bloody have to.
What have you played this last period of time?
This last period of time?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, played a few things. We finally got back to playing some Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
Which we left off 6 months ago.
Yes, the last 6 months have been a lot. But we did it. Yeah. How are you finding it?
It's alright.
Yeah.
I find that the further I sit away from the telly, because usually my sofa is a bit further back than yours.
Yeah.
I tend to find that the Joy-Cons lose sync so quickly. Whereas you, who is only like 3 foot closer, absolutely fine, no problems.
I 100% think that just if we're doing Skyward Sword, that just pull your sofa forward a bit.
I know, it's just...
change.
Faff.
That's not where it goes.
That's not where it goes.
That's not where it goes.
That's not the rules.
I mean, we could bring the Switch forward. But also, that's not
like
where...
crimes.
Yeah, I know. Things have set places.
Yeah, they do.
And that's criminal.
Crimes.
I really like Skyward Sword. I still really enjoy it.
Yeah, looks alright. We did some things. We fought that boss with the scimitars.
Yes. So where we left off the game was, like, I would say, like, the end of the first arc. We'd been to each of the areas on the main world once, and Zelda had gone through a weird portal, and it had been destroyed behind her, and we'd been told, like, hey, so there is another portal. You can go and, like, help her get back here. But you are going to need to take your not the Master Sword and turn it into the Master Sword. Go back to the places you've been, revisit the dungeons, but you can now go new places because you have new stuff you didn't have before. Go to a new little place and do a new little dungeon. We did the water dungeon.
Splish Splash.
Splish Splash. I love that dungeon's final boss. The multi-armed automaton that you have to pull its arms off and, uses its own weapons to beat it open. It's quite a thing.
You got that cool whip.
Yeah. I like where it uses all 6 arms to do that sort of like how someone with the lightsabers would sort of be like deflecting incoming things as it walks towards you, but with 6 big swords.
Yeah, because as soon as you walked in there, I went General Kenobi.
Yeah, it did not take you long to realize this was going to be the General Grievous fight, and I'd buy the General Grievous fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're making our way through it.
Making our way through it again. We're
Yeah.
back.
I continue to real like that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what about you? What have you played?
Well, we played a game that you got me for the festive period for UDP. Yeah, we played the Power Rangers deck building game, published by Renegade Games.
That's correct.
That is a way better game than it has any right to as like a licensed card game. Like, card game based on a licensed property, I assumed it would. Like, it feels like the kind of thing that should be trash, or at the very least derivative.
Or, if not, not something you get like a single of in a box. Something that sells a bajillion separate cards.
Yeah, this is a nice little standalone box. Think you're sort of like Star Realms or something where you have a shop row and you're both playing as opposite sides that have mechanically identical starter decks, and you'll try to take the other player's health down to 0 by buying new cards to put in your deck and...
Or not buying new cards to put in your deck.
Buying new cards to put in your deck, or getting old cards that are no longer helpful out of your deck, things like that, and building a deck that's going to help you.
Yeah.
But, like, this has some unique mechanics that are really interesting and feel well play-tested, and I haven't seen done elsewhere.
No. So, like, from the villain side, you have your primary villain that you're actually playing as. They will have a 2-sided card. When you attach things to all 4 sides of that card, you can flip it over, and that will give you various sort of powers and abilities, all the things you've equipped, as well as further abilities. Once you've finally flipped your card, you'll have the ability to get additional masters. They are on the villain side, and equip them to your layer, and basically sort of create a Sinister Six of your very own.
Yeah.
To take on the Power Rangers, whereas the Power Rangers will be, you'll have your main character who will sort of go into their powered up form once they've got a couple of allies equipped to them, and they'll be able to so you've got a couple of hit allies, you've got some maneuvers, I think.
Yeah.
And like one other object, and then you'll attach it to yourself, flip your card over, you'll go into your morphed form, and all the while you're powering up your Zord Bay to get more and more Zords.
Yeah.
To become super powerful.
Yeah, so the way the two sides of this work are lightly asynchronous, so there's not a huge amount, like, mechanically you've got the same amount of buying power, the same amount of attack power, the same amount of healing power.
At least in your starter deck.
In your starting deck, yeah. But when you're purchasing from the shared row in the middle, your sort of shop row, one of the more interesting differences is most things both players can purchase, but some cards are very definitively labelled heroes and some are villains. The hero cards, only the hero can buy. Villain cards, only the villain can buy. And there's kind of a neat way that they play with unpurchased cards that have those affiliations. So, let's say I'm playing as the hero, I'm playing as one of the Power Rangers, and there's a couple of villain cards out on the table that Jane hasn't purchased on her turn as the villain. Yep. Those will deal me damage at the end of my turn. And instead of buying new cards to put in my deck, I could use buying power to defeat those cards so Jane can't buy them and so they don't deal me damage.
And they might give you a little bonus for defeating them.
Yeah, and there's an interesting play between, that would be really nice for my deck, but if I don't purchase it, next turn it's going to be a threat to the other player, because they're going to have to then make the decision of, do they use up their stuff destroying it and not getting a new card for their deck, or do they take the damage? And I think that works really nicely.
Yeah, I think so. And you've got the fact that you've got 7 different Zords you can add in.
Yeah.
You've got the fact that there are various different Power Rangers players. I think it's a full set of 5.
There's the
Plus
standard 5 plus Tommy is the Green Ranger as your player ones. But yeah, I also like how that works. So you play as one character, but there are cards for the other characters. You can still use them for your faction throughout the game. But like the stuff you buy from the shop, bro, you either play it for like its currency costs that'll help you do things,
Generating energy or more buying power.
yeah, or you equip them to a matching color slot on your ranger, and you've got or your villain. You've got 4 slots of different colors, and at any time you can remove a card from a slot and wait for it to come back round when the deck gets reshuffled to make space to put something new there. Lots of things that are equipped to you will be tapped abilities that you have to use your energy to power.
Yep.
So you're trying to balance having enough energy to do things on your turn with having buying power.
Yep.
And like the biggest difference is like the way the collecting masters versus collecting megazords work is your biggest difference between sides. But
yeah, seemingly.
even that felt pretty balanced.
It was pretty well balanced. I think if you'd been more aggressive, you would have absolutely destroyed me, but I won!
Yeah, because as the villains, like, the more of these, like, villains you collect to your little lair, you do incremental damage upon purchase.
Most of them will do, like, a little something when you first get them. Like, because I was Rito Revolto, my ability was to, every time I added more people to the layer, I would do a damage.
Yeah.
And then I was adding, like, I think Rita Repulsa had every time at the start of your turn, your opponent loses 1 card from their hand.
Yeah.
And considering you draw at the end of your turn, that's like, well, that's at least 1 whole card you've lost out of your thing.
Yeah.
I had another thing that was giving me an extra card at the beginning of every turn. So I was just constantly, like, adding more and more stuff to my...
Yeah.
Swelling my hand while destroying
But
yards.
by comparison, the Megazords operate on a system of they have reusable, very powerful abilities, but they don't automatically untap like the rest of your abilities do. You have to spend a good chunk of energy to untap all of them at once, and
Yeah, so it's worth sort of like adding more and more to the bay and then like tapping them all, untapping them all.
waiting until you've got enough that it's worth the expensive cost to untap them all. But upon purchase, you can tap them for a one-off powerful ability, rather than so many ongoing effects. And it was really neat.
But also, like, as you hit a certain threshold, you'll get your Megazord.
Yeah.
And finally the Dragon Megazord when you've got all like 5, 6 slots full.
Yeah.
Yes. So plenty of stuff to be adding in there.
I really like this game. I want to play more of it. It seems really neat.
I'm excited to play more. Also, I like the fact that the back of the cards is purple and yellow.
Yeah, good colour combination you don't see often enough.
Not often enough.
So yeah, what about you? What you been playing?
Ooh, I've been playing some Merchant's Cove.
Yes, I have yet to try playing this with you, but it took you 3.5 hours to organise this box. I'm intimidated.
So, a few months ago, before Kickstarter announced how awful they were, and were planning to remain being despite backlash, I kickstarted a game called Mythwind, which seemed like it would be really fun to play on stream it doesn't really have like a long-term goal. You have play session goals.
Yeah.
So it's like, you could really do this by the end of the season. And you have asymmetric player boards, and they stack on top of each other, so you can just put your player board in its current state into the box.
Yeah.
And that's like that's like a save state for the game. So you have this ongoing evolving world, these characters that can endlessly build up a town that you're building up, and sprites that you're inviting to help you build things up, and it just grows and grows and grows. Seemed like a really sweet idea, but then the other day I was thinking, like, well, I don't really know what they're like. I've heard that Merchant's Cove is very well regarded.
Yeah.
But I've not seen it. Like, what's the build quality like? What are these things like? So I was like, fuck it. It's UDEP. I'm gonna get one. So I got Merchant's Cove. Yes, as you say, it took about 3 hours from first unwrapping it to like finally going, okay, I've put everything back in the box.
And I mean,
and it's ready to go now.
And it's not to say this box is disorganized. There is very helpful little cards that, like, okay, these things go in these boxes in this order, and then you put the card on top, and you're like, that's that one is sorted,
Mhm.
etc. It's a well-organised box, but
It's
there's a
incredibly
lot
well-
of stuff in there.
Like, there's a bunch of little ships that you can put little wooden meeples in. So you need to, like, put the meeples in their space. You need to build the ships. And they have, like, once they're built, you never have to take them apart again, slot that sits in the actual box itself. But initially, that's all punchboard. You've got,
Yeah.
like, all of the components, because the basic point of this game is that you are merchants who are in some way acquiring or producing certain goods, small and large, in one of 4 different colours, and you are trying to sell them to people who come and visit the cove.
Yes.
And the game consists of you have you put some people in the boats, you produce more goods. Certain actions on your own personal boards will cost time. Once you've got all the way round to the market face position on the time board, you then have to just start selling stuff.
Yeah.
And it's completely asymmetric, so you get 4 faction or 4 types in the baseboard, 4 different merchants. So you've got the blacksmith, who has like a dice rolling and dice placement thing. You have the alchemist, who's got like a like bag thing where you're sort of taking marbles out of a bag and putting them in a thing, and then taking them out of that little decanter in a certain order to make potions, and then selling those potions.
Trying to make like them fall into combo positions.
Yep, there's like a little downfall thing there, so if things sort of add up nicely, you can take like a whole bunch of stuff out at once.
Yeah.
It's like all of the different merchants that I've played so far, and I've played the alchemist and the blacksmith so far.
Yeah.
And they have been. I feel like those are the 2 easiest ones.
Yes.
To learn.
The one of the other ones that sounds really interesting is the Chronomancer.
The Chronomancer and their assistant.
Yeah, who doesn't produce materials to sell at the market. They're a time
Snatches them
traveler.
through time.
Yeah, they'd go on time traveling adventures to steal artifacts to sell in the present, which I think is a fascinating idea.
But while you're doing that, like, your assistant has to go ahead of you. You can't ever go ahead of your assistant, and your assistant has to wait for you at one end of the time stream, and you meet them. Meanwhile, it's like you're collecting goods from throughout the time stream, or you're trying to do all the normal actions that everyone else has, like acquiring townsfolk to help you out, or activating the townsfolk that you've already hired, or collecting the goods, and then upgrading the portals that you're travelling through so that they cost less time on the time board, not on your own thing. So that they cost less time, and also that they do better things for you.
Yeah.
So basically, you're just trying to make things as cheap as possible. There's a degree of like improving your engine at least, while also sort of upgrading your board as a whole. And these sort of fits and starts as you're sort of moving in this sort of juddery loop constantly around your board.
Yeah.
And then you've got the captain, or the admiral, I suppose, would be more accurate, because you have a fleet of 4 ships that you're sending out around this area, and some of them will be fishing, and some of them will be... And the things you fish up will be things that you will sell, or you'll be getting these caskets of buried treasure from various islands.
Yeah.
And bringing that back to sell on the market.
It's 4 completely different, like, games you can be playing to play one central game, and it seems fascinating.
Yeah, I've as I say, I've played through. It's got like a really nice solo automa player. They have like a bunch of cards, and you take like the left half of one card and the right half of the next card. And then at the end of your turn, that will make like a central thing that you are doing on this turn.
Yeah.
So it helps keep the randomness up, because you never know what order those things are going to come to. Is it making a particular good, or do you do it once, twice, or no times? Are you getting people from the town? Are you adding extra people to your own board and then distributing them out into the boats that will be coming to the docks? Because they have this whole thing of the way they work to put new people out on the docks, instead of just drawing blindly out of the bag, they will go, what have I got goods for? I'm going to put, if I've got a person that matches that type of good on my board, I am going to put that in this position to try and sell it in this place.
Yeah.
It's really clever, and it has a good amount of variety. The 2 times I've played through it, it has seemingly acted completely differently. On the first one, it seemed the first game I played, it seemed very focused on mostly just getting rid of like the any curses that it acquired or any sort of bad things that would happen to it, and just selling like little bits here and there. And the one I played today, it was just like, I'm making everything constantly, and then I'm selling it, and I don't care how bad things get. I don't care how many curses I take. I'm just going to keep doing this thing and selling it. And very different games, and I still only beat it by 4 points. It would have taken one less bad card for it to have won that game.
Wow.
It's nice that it's a good challenge.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you played?
We've both been playing a fair amount of The Binding of Isaac Repentance.
We have.
Yeah, this is, I think, the most you've ever gotten into The Binding of Isaac. This is the most it's ever gotten.
I've seen Mum's Heart.
Yeah, you've been making good progress.
Yes, I've defeated Mum's Heart like 5 times now.
Yeah, you are making your way through those various Mum's Heart unlocks. Yeah, I've seen you seem to have gravitated somewhat towards Azazel.
I think that's just because it's the one you play, and having sort of gone, well, I know it can be done.
Yeah.
I think there's something about that of having the confidence of, well, it can be done. I've seen someone do it.
I mean, that's fair. Like,
I'm sure people are absolutely badass at Isaac himself.
Yeah.
But
Here's what I will say. I know a lot of people don't like playing as Azazel because they're a bit of a glass cannon.
Yeah.
Because very powerful but very short range. But I think, like, being able to fly right from the start is so helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And those first few floors before you have many upgrades, being able to take out most things with a single well-placed hit.
It's way more difficult to get cornered as a Azazel.
It's much easier to go, I'm cornered, I'm going to just go through the problem. Whereas Isaac, you can get trapped in a corner and go, I'm gonna just have to take damage.
I think the fact that Azazel can fly takes off a lot of the problems of being overwhelmed by stuff.
Yeah.
Of, like, positioning myself and working out where the enemies are going to be and how they can move around and what my damage output is looking like.
I mean, playing with such a short range projectile character, I think also forces you to get good at recognizing patterns and where your windows are and when's safe to attack. Like, you can't rely on, I'm just going to pick things off from the other side of the room and not really deal with the mechanics.
Yeah.
I feel like I play better, like, playing a lot of Azazel got me more to grips with the game, I think. But yeah, because I've been replaying it because I lost my save data at some point in the past, and was like, it's fine, I'll replay through, so I've had some really nice greed mode runs with Azazel recently. I have had several where I had, like, just rooms of things were melting to me, and it felt very wonderful, very powerful. I've started to find a lot of the new items and see how they fit with my play style. There's one I know about, and I've seen it, and I've never been able to afford it, but I really want to use it because I know what it does. It looks like just the letter R off of a keyboard.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and it costs 99 coins.
In greed mode,
in greed mode. 49 I saw it for once because it was half price. I had the voucher code. But the deal with it is that you can restart the current run you are on using the same seed, so the same, the same stuff. Is it the same? No, it's
the same pool.
Yeah, same item pool available.
Yeah, because you won't get the items you've already got.
Yes. But the point being that you take all of your current upgrades and items and go right back to the start of the run and keep going. And it can lead to you having really overpowered, amazing builds.
Yes.
And I keep seeing it. The problem is, every time I've seen it in greed mode, it's been on the first floor.
Yeah.
I've never been lucky enough to see it a bit further down when I have some money in my pockets. And I'm always like, that time when it was 49 on the first floor, I was like, can I somehow get 49? I scrounged and scraped every penny I could find. I got to 42 coins on that first floor, and I was like, so close. But yeah, how have you been getting on with Repentance? You've been having
I
fun?
seem to be doing all right. I have
Yeah.
had some very nice runs. There are runs where everything just seems to come up correctly. It seems to be the stuff I want. I do spend an awful lot of that game just like, there's a thing. Pause. Check the wiki.
Yeah, that is a lot of starting playing Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many items now. There's like, what, 1,000 plus items?
Yeah, so on PC there's a mod that will just tell you what the things do, but I don't want to play it on PC. Switch is where I'm like, I want to just pick it up for a couple of minutes and put it down quickly and have it as a second screen thing.
I got a voucher for UDP
Yeah.
for the Nintendo store, so I was like, I'll just get Repentance.
I mean,
I've got everything but Repentance on the PC.
Yeah, it is good, but it is one of those games that you will either need to just pick things up and learn from practice what they do, or be willing to have a wiki open and unashamedly Google things, which I do a lot of.
Yep, I have a page, and I just scroll through all the pictures and click the thing.
Exactly.
And occasionally, if I'm struggling, I'll just it looks kind of like this, and just type that in.
Yeah.
And usually, even if that's not what it's called, it will help me find that thing.
Exactly. But
yeah, enjoying it still. Yeah. And I've been playing Binding of Isaac since it only had 4 directions and
yes,
no joystick support.
It's come a long way. Yeah. What about you? Have you played anything else?
We played some Kim Joy's Magic Bakery.
We did. This is a little board game, card gamey game that we got in. I think it was the final Zatu box.
It was the final Zatu box
that we ordered, and it took us a while to get around to finding the time to play it.
We've been busy.
Yeah. So it's a card game where you are trying to make recipes and bake various items for magical woodland creatures that have various food desires.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you do this is by you have a limited number of actions per turn. You have a hand of cards, and there are cards out on the table. You can use your actions to pick up a card from the basic ingredients row.
Yeah, so like eggs and sugar and flour.
Yep. To combine 2 things together into a new ingredient.
2 or 3 things, or 4 things, I think.
Yeah.
Is it sponge takes like a ton of things?
Oh yeah,
that
takes fucking everything.
Yeah, then you've got like pastry and icing and...
Yeah.
And those are the second tier things.
Yeah, and then you can combine second tier things up into top tier things.
Yep.
And you can hand cards from your hand to the other player.
Mm-hmm.
And those are your very simple items, very simple actions. But the thing that sort of makes it more complicated is that each mission has a gimmick.
Yeah, it has kind of a sort of vaguely legacy-like aspect.
Yeah. Or
non-destructive. Yeah. I mean, I suppose you could write in the back of the book as it suggests.
Yeah. It's a narrative that will change the mechanics a little mission by mission.
Yeah, so like the first one is there is a cat that wants to be pet right now.
And it's lying on top of some of the second stage item cards.
Yes.
So if you want to make the icing, well, the icing's under the cat. You can either use an action to move the cat a space to one side to get it off the icing, or if that's going to be a faff and you just want to get it right out the way, when you're making, let's say you're making fancy shortbread biscuits, you can make them with the basic ingredients.
Plus, say, some chocolate.
Yeah, there will sometimes on a card be garnish, and if you optionally add that, you might get something good, like, oh, for free, you can move the cat as far as you like in either direction, and that'll get the cat out of the way so you can get to the icing for a bit.
Yeah.
Without talking about what the ones that come later are, there's a good variety of ways they mix up those mechanics. And,
yeah. And like messing with the ingredients you have access to and how you get access to those.
Yeah.
And it's really sweet. It's not too heavy going. We haven't failed at any of the missions yet.
I think we've so far had 3 out of 3 stars on all of them, but we haven't perfected any of them.
No.
We've always had one unhappy customer.
Yep. Afraid so.
Usually the same one.
Yes.
There's one with a very complicated fucking order.
I can't remember what it is. But yeah, there is one dessert that there's one fox, I think it is, once, and it's like, oh, come on.
It's some overly fancy biscuit, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, that we have to make, like, there's biscuit, there's sponge, there's icing, there's this. Like,
there's fruit.
Yeah, there's like 4 different stage 2 things that have to get combined together, and they're always the one where we're like, "You're too much effort. Sorry,
Sorry, pal.
we're not worried about you. We tried.
Yep.
There were other people who needed serving today."
Right? And they're just like, but my jams!
It's a really sweet game. Like, the theming's nice. It's not overly complicated, but the fact we can't perfect any of the missions is like, it's like, yeah, I feel good, but I could have done better.
Yep. So there was all of that, and then it was like I've had a look through the manual a bit further,
Yeah.
and it's like once you've got to the end of the story modes, here is a list of things you can do where you put like 2 of those scenario things together to make another thematic thing that is going to be much harder.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And there's like, I think 10 more of those.
Yeah.
So I think there's like 20 story missions, maybe 10, I can't remember, but then like another 10 or so of what if you combine these things in this way and made it even harder. So yeah, there is plenty to do, plenty of ways to make this more difficult, and the artwork's really sweet. All of the ingredients and things have just like cute little faces on. Hi, I'm Flower. What about you? Have you played anything else?
I think that's the main things I've played this couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that's everything I've played as well.
Well then, time for this. Right. I've called this meeting. Brain, lovely to have you here.
Hello, yes.
Yes. So we don't meet very often. I know we're on other ends of the.
We don't always agree.
But I'm off. I'm Stomach. Nice to finally acquainted.
You're always with your demands, yes.
I know. I want lots of food. And
You do. I want the serotonin, yes.
You want the serotonin from the food, but you don't let me eat all the food.
No, I have to produce all of the guilt and shame.
Oh, indeed. But I think I've come up with an agreement that might allow us to, at least for a short while, get all the serotonin and none of the guilt.
Is this something to do with the fairy lights I keep seeing?
No, they're not tasty, unfortunately.
You can't eat the fairy lights, but they are pretty.
They are pretty. So, here, I've got something for you to sign. It is the "It doesn't count this week" accords.
I don't sign anything I haven't read.
Well, you can have a read of it. Have a read. It's only a couple of sentences, you see.
Okay.
Between the Unicorn Dance Party and the New Year, food, it doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Yes, it doesn't count.
Okay, so the variety chocolates?
They don't count.
Okay, slightly too much of a roast dinner?
Doesn't count.
Okay, an entire box of Ferrero Rocher?
Doesn't count.
Right, okay. I mean, this seems perfectly reasonable. Since
Exactly.
the fairy lights are out.
Exactly, the fairy lights are out. It doesn't count. Make a little rhythm out of it. Fairy lights are out. It doesn't count.
Fairy lights are out, it doesn't count.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, right, I'll just sign
Wonderful.
this off it.
There you go.
That's...
No guilt. Give me all the food.
Yeah. That's
You don't
fine.
feel better already.
No guilt.
Yeah. Nom 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 nom.
Have you had too much to eat during festive meal?
Oh, I should have stopped before that last bite.
Did the food lag get you?
Oh, I thought I could still eat more, but it's just catching me up.
Suddenly feeling painfully full?
I'm never going to eat again.
Let the pressure portal open a tiny pocket dimension inside your stomach. It'll take some of the excess and give you time to properly process that last couple of roasted potatoes and gravy without the self-inflicted pain that could spoil the rest of the day for you.
Oh, now I'm back to just comfortably comatose.
The pressure portal. It'll hold things back until you can have a nice poo.
So, what have you put in your eye?
Well, we watched the new Disney Pixar Encanto.
We did.
We did.
We did.
What did you think of Encanto?
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked the music. I liked the art style. There seemed to be some nice friends in there.
Yeah.
Don't want to spoil it, obviously.
I think we can talk about the base premise, which is that there is a family that have a magic candle that
It's their miracle.
Yeah, it protected them from a very bad event that happened once, and everyone born into this family now gets a little magical gift that's unique to them, and they get their own little room in the house that is bigger than it should be and is themed around their wonderful talent. And our main character is the one person in this family who doesn't have a power. They
Something happened.
Something happened and they didn't get a power, and some things start going wrong within the family, and then it becomes a story about the relationships between these family members, kind of.
Yeah, and sort of like, is there something going on? And
Yeah.
how does it all work?
How does it connect to the one family member that no one wants to talk about?
And yes, and the main character who's just like, well, I'm taking this as my personal mission now. I need to
Yeah.
understand.
I really like this film. I think it has some fantastic musical numbers, some very catchy musical numbers, and some lovely characterization. I think it handles some of its heavier topics really impressively without feeling too heavy in the process. The one thing I think is a little bit of a shame about it is that some of the characters in the family, clearly there is something they were trying to explore with them and they don't get much screen time. Like, some of the family members get a lot more screen time for what they are going through than others.
Yes.
And I think what this film maybe could have done with is the film starts with like a song that is like, let's talk about every family member in a very positive, upbeat manner. It maybe needed like a reprise song later that was, let's use the same rhythmic structure to talk about all the family members, but to talk about the other side of what they're going through for all of them. Like, it needed some... Here's just like a little bit more, like, here, just something to fill in those other characters that, like, okay, I can kind of guess at what their thing was. But, like, that's a very minor complaint. It was a lovely little film.
Yeah, it was very nice. I would look forward to watching it again at some point.
The music from it is stuck in my head, and it lives there, and I can't get it out. It's very good music.
I'll watch it again sometime when I'm not full of snacks and half asleep.
Indeed, I will watch it again at some point when I have more of my attention locked in on it. But I very much enjoyed it. It was a good film.
Yeah.
I love some of the characters in it. They're very sweet.
Right.
Well, what you watched?
We watched two. We watched two Christmas movies.
We did. I know.
This joy of spending time with a couple of members of family who have small people. So one of the big kids movies of 2021. We watched 8-Bit Christmas.
I'm gonna sit here and be like, I'm gonna make it clear, I have far less of a problem with Christmas movies, but I am aware that you begrudgingly watch. You exist around.
I don't
them.
mind Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah,
It's the best Muppet movie and possibly the best movie.
yeah,
But I don't like Christmas, so
yeah.
because
So
drama.
tell us about 8-Bit Christmas.
8-Bit Christmas is Neil Patrick Harris. He is a parent, and his kid desperately wants a mobile phone, and he's trying to explain why that is not going to happen.
See,
And about a time when he was a kid and he desperately wanted a Nintendo Entertainment System.
I think it's funny you say he's a parent, because I would have described him as a framing device. He exists to tell a story of a character that isn't played by Neil Patrick Harris.
That is true.
He's a framing device character, but yeah, it's the story of a kid having, like, I want to get an NES. Here's the rich family in the neighborhood that has one.
Yeah, with the one kid who's just just horrible, but lauding his richness over everyone else.
Here's trying to interact with my parents and get them on board with the idea of me having an NES.
Tricking them into getting an
Yeah.
NES.
Then it sort of it dips its toes into the culture war and the sort of fear-mongering around video games.
Yep, and then there's the whole thing of, like, the thing you get in a lot of, like, American rites of passage movies of we had to sell a bunch of things to get the thing.
We sold a bunch of things and went out on a bit of a quest.
Oh yeah,
as
there's
the friend group. Essentially the children's equivalent of a heist.
yeah, there's some Goonies-esque bits in there.
There is also some unnecessarily gross visual imagery for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, content warning for
Vomited SpaghettiOs.
yes. For that, I was
Yeah.
gonna try and sugarcoat that.
I
but
mean,
there we go.
I feel like that is the best way of being direct about what you should be prepared for.
Yeah, you should be prepared for that. That was alright.
It was fine.
Then we watched Muppets Christmas Carol, which is great.
Muppets Christmas Carol is great. It's a wonderful film. Michael Caine absolutely fucking knocks it out the park. It's fantastic.
Strongly agree.
I was watching
It's got great songs.
I watched a little mini documentary about that while I was in the bath today. Yeah. All of the times when Michael Caine is in scenes with the Muppets, he's walking around on a very narrow beams, having to not look down while he walks.
Yes, because
so
the
there's-
Muppets are being published
Yeah, he's
from
about
underneath.
4 foot off the ground on a very narrow post with holes either side of him,
Yes.
confidently striding along as if it's nothing. And I'm like, that's well done, sir.
Well done. Great, how brave of you to not die.
Yeah. Apparently, the 3 Ghosts of Christmas were originally going to be performed by 3 of the existing Muppet cast. Gonzo was going to be the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. It was
Just his nose poking out
yes,
of the...
yes, it was going to be the existing
Amazing.
spooky cloak, but with his nose coming out.
Amazing.
Miss Piggy, I think, was going to be Christmas Present, and I can't remember if they said who was going to be Christmas Past, but
I think they did it really well. And as another documentary has recently said about how, like, it's one of the most true to the book variants of Christmas Carol.
yeah,
Because it does take just, like, the full narration. And a lot of those stories are, like, just scene for scene.
yeah.
Whereas by having the Gonzo as playing Charles Dickens and doing the
Yeah.
narrating, you get that whole aspect of the narration with, like, a lot of lines literally taken straight from the book.
Indeed.
And then there's songs. And the songs are sweet.
Go cheeses for us,
Oh,
Mises.
Jesus, for us Mises. Those Mises so cute.
Where's your little Mises?
And is it Benji Bunny? He gets
Yeah.
the wreath thrown over him at one point.
Yeah.
It's
It is a very
as jaded as I am about the whole holiday. I bloody love Muppets Christmas Carol.
it is a wonderful, wonderful film.
Yeah. Gosh, what else did we watch? We watched 2 really big movies.
Yeah,
Which one
we
do you
did.
want to talk about first?
Should we start with the one we saw more recently?
Okay.
We saw Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah, we did.
Side note, yeah, I'm aware that the Wachowskis have done some shitty stuff that they've never properly apologized
They
for.
really need to apologise for Speed Racer, but on the flip side, you can watch this online in places really easily.
Yes, that is accurate. But yeah,
Sophie from Mars told me it must be true.
yeah. Wink. But yeah, that put aside for a second, put in a little box. I really enjoyed Matrix Resurrections. I very much line up with the sentiments of many people I have seen of,
It's awful. You'll love it.
this is a terrible film that I love. And I mean this in the sense of, like, it undeniably has some on-paper problems, and I do not fault anyone who criticizes this film on the grounds of, it is a very lengthy film that is poorly paced. It's kind of overly self-indulgent and way too into breaking the fourth wall in some aspects.
Mhm.
It is, at times, more interested in long, rambling, not exactly going anywhere philosophical discussions than it needs to be.
Mhm.
It's an amazing film.
And I think Neil Patrick Harris is better at that than he is in
Yeah,
8-Bit Christmas.
He's a character rather than a framing device. But, like, yeah, I really liked the justification for coming back to these characters and how they did it.
Mhm.
I really liked look, the first act self-referential stuff is tacky and cheesy and so chewing the scenery. I
not
fucking
tasty
love it
scenery.
though. It it does 100% feel like the opening of this film is somehow Warner Brothers allowed a searing takedown of themselves to be put to film,
Yes,
and
sir.
I kind of enjoyed that.
Haha, we're not so bad. We laughed at ourselves.
I mean,
They are bad.
They are bad.
Don't support them.
They are bad. Don't support them. They continue to put money into certain wizard film production. But like, I very much feel like if you watched The Matrix and enjoyed it, and then later came out as LGBT of some variety, you're probably going to dig this one. If you watched it and went, yes, you're right, everyone around me is an NPC and not real, and I'm the only real person, and I can control existence. If you came away from the original films with that feeling, you're not going to dig this.
No.
Depending on whether you are in, yes, I am red-pilled, like, angry internet corner, or lol, red pill is trans, I feel like that's a diverging point on whether this is going to be for you. Yeah. Wait, you have anything to add on Matrix?
It's what, 2 hours or so of action and
Yeah.
impressive graphics. It's still impossible to correctly scan Keanu Reeves' face.
It made me laugh more than I expected.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to laugh that much.
I wasn't expecting to laugh that much, and I wasn't expecting to feel as emotionally invested in the characters. There's a
Also, fuck what anyone online is saying. Carrie Ann Moss looks fucking
Oh,
amazing.
hell yeah. I feel like the biggest praise I can give this film, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the end of Matrix 3 to explain this, is I was very dubious of this film because Matrix 3, as we know, ends with the death of our two leads who were in the trailers for this film.
Spoilers.
I prefaced I was going to talk about this. Matrix 3 ends with Trinity and Neo dying, and then Trinity and Neo appear to be in this new film in the trailers. I was very dubious. I was like, this is going to feel really annoying and retconny. I really like what they were going for.
Yeah.
As someone that trope usually really annoys me, I kind of liked it here.
Yeah.
They pulled it off,
I'm
I think.
curious if this means they're going to make, like... if this is going to be the new Star Wars, are we going to get another 2 of these? Is this going to be a second trilogy?
The feeling I get from how this one ended, and the fact that sequels haven't yet been announced, is that this one is being used to gauge where the sequels should happen. And I feel like that ending is like, look, it could end here, or it could very much be a jumping on point for more Matrix stuff. And I'd be fine either way, honestly. I enjoyed this. If more were made, I would watch them. This one has been real divisive. I don't know if we'll get more, but I want them to make more exactly like this mess. I feel about this the way I feel about the original No More Heroes. It's a broken mess and I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way.
I think that is totally fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shall see what happens. Okay, should we talk about the other one?
Okay, should we talk about the other one?
Let's talk about the other one.
It's been by the time people listen to this, it will have been a few weeks.
In a few weeks. Hopefully people will have had time to watch Spider-Man.
Yeah. So I feel like if you wanted to watch Spider-Man, you've probably seen it by now. We could probably talk kind of safely-ish about it.
It is a film. It is a good film. It is my second favourite Spider-Man film after Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I would agree. I was not expecting some of the fan service in this film to be as big a part of the film as it was. I expected little touches of fan service that were very large parts, and I was really happy with. I
liked what we got. I was afraid from the few because I didn't see a lot of trailers.
Yeah.
I managed somehow to completely avoid a lot about this.
Yes.
Because you were saying afterwards, like, oh, there was some leaks about this, that, and the other thing. I was like, I somehow did not hear it.
There was some 8K leaked footage from, like, the filming set, clearly from one of the film cameras, like, 6 months ago, that people in that footage were like, nah, it's not me. It's not me. It's fake, that one.
Lost.
That was a whole thing for a while.
Didn't see
I
it.
am impressed you managed
Somehow
to...
missed all of that stuff.
Well done. I'm glad you got the experience that was clearly the intended one.
I've can't remember why I started that thought, but there we go. Yeah, I was a little bit worried from the little bits I had seen that it was going to tread on the toes of Spider-Verse, that they were going to be like, it's a live-action Spider-Verse. And I suppose some people could argue that it dips into that.
I feel
But
like
it is... We knew that they were going to be setting up for Multiverse of Madness.
yeah,
We've seen that since Loki.
yes.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job with the trailers for this film of doing a bit of a bait and switch about which things were going to be big parts of the film and which were not. And I was impressed they pulled that off.
Yeah.
Again, much funnier than I expected it to be.
Oh, yeah.
For a 2.5-hour film, very well paced. It
Yep.
really sort of moved by at a good speed.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the developments this gave for some of the characters I thought were just going to be little cameos. I was very pleased to see, like, we're actually trying to further those stories in interesting ways.
Yep. There was one bit where I was sat there in the cinema going, oh god, they're doing the thing, TM.
What was this?
I can't.
Oh, is this the thing where something sad happens?
I just was like, no.
Yeah. I mean, look. Yeah, it's a trope. It happened. But like, the fact that I came away and was like, yeah, that happened, but it really, in the grand scheme of things, I didn't care. I had a great time.
It didn't ultimately, so...
Yeah.
It spoiled, like, 5 minutes of me just sat there, head in my hands, going, oh god, they've done it again. I thought this series was going to avoid this.
I think I can say this much because, like, it was shown off a little in one of the early trailers. Willem Dafoe absolutely fucking nails it in this film.
Nom nom, tasty scenery.
Oh, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted out of a Willem... Like, if you thought Willem Dafoe chewed the scenery in the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man film, this is him turned up to 11, but also having, like, an actual genuine sweet kind of story going on.
Yep.
Like, they gave him so much more narrative to work with other than, ha ha ha, I'm evil, choose the scenery.
Nom tasty scenery.
Like,
I think he was brilliant.
This is what if also I was sad sometimes, choose the scenery.
What if I was sadly nibbling on just corners of the set?
Like, Willem Dafoe still fucking got it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got so much more Willem Dafoe.
And something I also really liked, because once again, went over my fucking head. The digital de-aging.
Yeah.
Didn't spot that.
Very well handled.
It was good enough that I'm sure maybe if I went back through and really looked for it,
yeah,
I would notice it more, but I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I looked at various things in The Matrix, which is fairly cutting-edge fucking technology-wise.
Yeah.
And went, I can see stuff in there that is very definitely CG. The digital de-aging did not faze me at all.
Yeah, yeah.
I would maybe have to, like, look at them, like, more recent photos of them, like, now, and maybe have a look, but didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, they got that budget, they can afford to do the high-end good stuff, apparently.
But so could fucking Rogue One, and that was uncanny as fuck.
But yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home, legitimate. I really like where it sets up this Peter Parker.
Yes.
I like that it's put him... It's dealt with my biggest problem of his...
Feature creep.
Not only feature creep, but specifically, like, every standalone film we've had for him prior to this has felt like this is Tony Stark Jr. Like, they've been using him as a Tony Stark Jr. rather than as a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I like how this sort of gets him back to
space.
It puts him back in a position of doing more Spider-Man stories.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like his character development here. I thought it was a really good...
I hope we get to see more Tom Holland Spider-Man, because I think he's a good Spider-Man.
He's signed on for 3 more Spider-Man films we're getting, which I'm excited for.
Are they not all going to be called home this time, so they're a bit fucking easier to find?
I'm hoping this means we will get the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. Give me that.
Yeah. And then maybe the Young Avengers.
Yeah, and also maybe some other films that film might have set up. Some of those characters that came in for a bit in that film, apparently getting sequels that they never got before.
What?
Yeah, we
Well.
might be getting more films with those characters.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
We might get to see where they went afterwards, which is weird and fascinating.
That is. I am fascinated and weirded by that.
Yeah.
So speaking of Marvel,
yeah.
we watched the end of Hawkeye.
We did. I really enjoyed that.
I can't believe they made me care about fucking Hawkeye.
Yeah, this did a better job of making me care about Hawkeye than literally
Avengers.
anything they've ever done before in the MCU.
Yep.
You made me give a shit as part of a story of very clearly we're gonna hand over the reins. This ain't gonna be Hawkeye anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. You made me care about. Why couldn't you have made me care about him while we were still gonna get some films with him in? Maybe.
Right. Maybe just a little bit.
Little bit late to the mark, but I'm glad you got there.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to it.
It felt like it ended very suddenly. I didn't realise it was the final episode until suddenly it was the final episode.
I wonder if this is going to be the new Die Hard. People are going to be like, the Hawkeye series, that's a Christmas movie, right?
I mean, I think a decade from now there's going to be kids that will talk about it being a Christmas thing.
Yeah, that's a 4.5 hour Christmas movie, right?
Yeah. But like, here's the thing. It being only 6 episodes caught me off guard a little. I didn't realise it was ending that
Yeah,
quick.
because I think a lot of these series have been aimed at
Yeah.
being 10 episodes, even if they didn't all
Yeah.
end up that way.
But like, I don't hate that. I kind of like the length. I think it was nice and condensed. Like,
It told the story well. It didn't feel like there was any bloat in it.
I feel like, for example, Falcon and the Winter Soldier could really have done with with being this sort of length.
Yeah.
That had a lot of bloat it didn't need.
I had a lot of bloat, and I didn't really know who I was supposed to give a fuck about.
Oh, I'm supposed to root against the people that want to have a world with fewer borders?
Yeah.
That want to be able to keep living in the place where they're currently living and not get sent back to a place where they have no life?
Sorry, American imperialism, you're not selling me on this.
Yeah. Yeah, Hawkeye...
Yeah.
Considering we didn't bother watching it till it was like 3-4 episodes deep already because we didn't care about the character,
Yeah.
it's worth watching.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I can't even remember what made me change my mind. I think we might have literally just been bored.
I think it was we were just coming up to like, oh, we need a bit of a break. I'd been overworking myself a little, and we were just coming up to the festive break.
Yeah. It's like, what should we do? We've got a little bit of time.
I need no think only media.
Yeah. So yeah, we very much enjoyed the Hawkeye series. It was
did.
good.
We watched a couple of other little things.
Yeah.
We watched Centaurworld season 2.
Centaurworld.
I am very happy that it seems like that show's only getting 2 seasons because it's very good. It's very good, very enjoyable.
It has told its story.
It has told its story, and I'm glad that it seems like it's gonna go, yep, we're done. That is the story.
Mhm.
Because it's what I really liked about, what was... Kipo in the Age of Wonder Beasts was one that was like that, where it just ended, and I was like, yeah,
You
nice.
told your story, and you didn't feel near the need to dive back into it.
Having watched the whole thing now, that Centaurworld does a very good job of tee-hee-hee, very silly, fast-paced, amusing humour.
And musical.
Oh, yeah, and musical. Oh no, suddenly my heart is broken as much as it can bear. Oh no, you're breaking it even further. I didn't know this was possible. Ha ha
Also
ha.
comfortable, Doug.
Also comfortable Doug. Hee hee hee, I'm shooting tiny versions of myself out of my hooves.
Yeah.
Oh no, trauma.
Yeah. I think it was a great show. I very much
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
I genuinely felt like this is one of the best handled villains I have seen in a long time. In terms of making me like...
They weren't disabled.
No, well, yeah.
They weren't the token black character.
I mean, very specifically in terms of not at any point trying to redeem this person as this villain as not being evil for doing what they're doing, but making how they got there incredibly understandable.
Yes.
And making a lot of twists and turns where you go, oh, I totally understand. I understand. That's the motivator that got you to where you are. oh no, we're not even 10% of the way there to why you were the way you are. Okay, no, keep going. I want to hear more.
Yeah.
The sheer intricately crafted rabbit hole of that villain is fascinating.
Yeah, fascinating.
I want to go through it
We
again.
were still guessing at it, like, quite late in the series.
Yeah, I want to go through it again now because, like, I can already think of some foreshadowing that led to that.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to rewatch it now, knowing what the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was such a good payoff for, like, okay, we're right at the finale. What's your deal, villain? Oh hell yeah, give me a 90-minute story about this. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
because that last episode was like double length.
Yeah, it was like nearly an hour and a half, that
Yeah.
final episode, and they used that time well.
It was real good.
Also, I can't stop singing the Becky Apples song.
Becky up.
Becky, how you like them apples?
And then we watched a Gretzko season before.
Yeah. Agretzko is a show I wish would end.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it. I enjoyed season 4, but it's a show that feels like it keeps having good opportunities to end and not taking them.
Yeah.
Like,
I can understand why you would look at the end of season 3 and go, we can't really end it there.
no, I understand that. But like,
But that you could just as easily have done a post-credit scene of and she wakes up in the hospital and actually she's okay.
yeah. Here's what I'll say about season 4. Season 4 could have been a really good end because it started taking the exit ramp where it would have ended the exact same way as Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and I think that would have been a really satisfying ending for the show.
I haven't seen the end of that.
Okay, I'm gonna talk light spoilers for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, a multiple years old show at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It is a show about someone whose entire narrative is devoted to whatever man she happens to be chasing at the time,
Yes.
before eventually realizing, actually,
I have mental health problems.
yeah, I have things I'm struggling with, and the hole I'm trying to fill in my life is a hole of fulfillment that could actually be filled by my creativity and my career in music. I am passionate about my music, and maybe I just be happy with myself and progressing on the things I want to do, rather than assuming that a man's gonna
Yeah.
fix everything for me. And I feel like that's the kind of ending that Agretzko kind of eventually needs, and I felt it taking the turning and then do a U-turn. And I was annoyed because I was like, you're gonna... Because, like, it's become less and less about Agretzko, the person who gets her anger out through the medium of heavy metal
Yeah.
over time, and become a show about her will they, won't they romance. And that's all it
Well,
kind of is
romance says, because we're
Yeah.
now on, like, guy 3 or 4.
Yeah, and, like, here's the thing. The guy for season 4, we've done this song and dance before. We've done the back and forth of will they, won't they before.
Yeah.
It was another season of will they, won't they that didn't really progress.
But it's been 3 years. Surely things have changed. No, they haven't.
This is a show I want to recognise that it's time for it to end and to give Agretzko some kind of finality.
It's not giving us nearly enough metal either.
No, that's the thing. It's not nearly enough of the metal anymore, and it feels like we're getting the same story with different
It's
set
turned into a
dressing every
fucking
time.
soap opera with occasional singing.
Yeah, and I don't mind it, but it's not what... This is a show that feels like if it had had a 2 or 3 tight seasons and had ended with a set conclusion, this could have been like a very recommendable, hell yes, everyone go watch
I remember
it.
sitting and watching, like, actually sitting and watching that show, and, like, most of season 4, I was just nosing my Switch playing Binding of Isaac while it was
Yeah.
on, and being like, okay, oh, actually, no, I wasn't. I was sorting out the box for Merchant's Cove.
Yeah.
And, like, that's not even a brain-heavy task. It was popping cardboard out and making tiny boats.
Yeah, it's...
I was like, I'm struggling to care about this. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to be... And I think it's quite telling the way I dealt with Season 3.
Yeah.
That I think Agretzko Season 4's been out a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't like, I have to watch that. I have to
Yeah.
get right on that.
Agreed. Centaurworld, I was like, oh, there's a new season, I really want to see it. Agretzko was
we
like...
now have time.
Agretzko was, we're here.
We're here. We've
here.
literally run out of things to watch.
Yeah, it's there. It's an easy choice. We'll give it a watch. It was an inoffensive time, but it was just I don't want more this one man having no confidence and not saying what he wants, and Agretzko not having confidence and saying what she wants, and
not even having the decency to scream into a microphone about it.
exactly. I'm like, there was a whole subplot in this season about Agretzko making more metal, and they didn't use that as an opportunity to give us more of Agretzko's metal.
Yeah.
They sort of just mention it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is...
Tell us about the more interesting story.
Yeah. Like, I want the version of this season where instead of, like, I'm going to be quietly disappointed in you for doing a thing and, quietly be like, you should do better. I want the version of this where you release a song to your millions of YouTube followers angrily shouting about the crime that this dickhead that you've been trying to date has done.
Yeah.
Just fucking going, nah, fucking dickhead who wants to date me is doing fucking crimes.
I feel like the problem with that would have been they would have been treading too much on season 3 at that point, because season 3 was very much what do you do a story about making content on YouTube? It ends up being dealing with the comments and dealing with the fans, and season 3 was about dealing with the fans.
Yeah, but I think specifically season 3 was about Japanese idol culture, which is
Yes.
very much like idol culture is weird in Japan, where people in idol groups are not allowed to have relationships with people because
They have to be seen as available.
Yeah.
And, like, they could be imagined to be dateable.
Yeah, like that is like we are going to actively encourage a really unhealthy fan audience dynamic.
Yeah.
Is very specific to idol culture. I feel like season 4 could have been, hey, metal is very aggressive and very don't get the fuck near me, and gives the kind of message that's like, oh, I can keep doing music, but this is music that establishes firm boundaries between me and the listener and the audience that feels safer to get back into. Like, you could have done a different thing here, and they just didn't.
No, they didn't. We'll see what happens next year, I guess. When there will undoubtedly be another season.
Apparently, I'm
All
sure.
the numbers will be so far down that...
This has the
There won't be
feel.
another
This has
season.
the feel of one of those shows that
This will be the show that Netflix doesn't cancel.
Yeah. Did you watch anything else?
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
I think that's it for me as well.
Well then.
Time for this.
Oh no, we've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you have an obligation to do stuff with the family?
Oh, I mean, I'm not seeing him in person. It seems a bad idea right now, but
There's very
I-
vulnerable people in the family.
yeah, I do have that big video call I'm supposed to be doing though, and I hate big group video calls because no one can hear anyone. Everyone's just talking over each other, and it's no.
How do you get 15 people on one video call, especially when a bunch of them are children who are very excited and screaming
Yeah,
and full of like 10 a.m. chocolate?
exactly. And you can't actually hear anyone talking because their screaming has made the video call software mute everyone else because it thinks they're talking.
Yep.
Oh gosh, yeah. Can you get me out of it? I really need to not.
Well,
I have to be there though.
You do have to be there. What about trying our new sponsor, My Video Call Loop?
Tell me about the sponsor, what they do.
Well, they will create a short, low-res
Ooh.
looping video that will occasionally freeze,
Yeah.
and it looks like you are still on the call, but are having connection difficulties.
Ah, I see. So occasional stutters, a little bit of
Yeah,
juttering.
it will move occasionally, making it look like occasionally there will just be like half syllables coming through from you.
Oh, I see. Yeah, an occasional like yes or no that like that could be to anything, and probably just I'm responding a bit late, maybe.
Exactly.
Ah, that seems like a very useful tool. That.
Exactly. So you just get that. You head over to myvideocallloop.lol.net and enter the code Q&PS 197
Ooh.
and get a discount of some sort
Ooh.
off of your first video call loop.
Oh, nice.
Available to use on all platforms, including mobile and Discord and Skipay.
Well, that is gonna really help.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi. So, it's unicorn dance party time.
Yeah,
It's finally that wonderful time of year.
Yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Exactly. So, I thought it's finally time we do our annual gift exchange.
Okay. Well, here is what I got you.
What'd you get me? Let me open it up. Oh, wow! A round of firings to raise our stock value.
Yeah, I know how, you like money.
I like when numbers go up and the quarterly numbers say we did good so we can give ourselves more money.
And you enjoy the misery of others.
Oh, exactly. Well, how about you open this up?
Okay. This is really nicely wrapped. Did you get one of the interns to do this?
Oh, yeah. Well, right before I fired them.
Naturally. Oh, wow. You really shouldn't have. Wow, I have had that harassment lawsuit has been hanging over me for just most of the last 3 years. So just an out of court settlement.
Oh, I know.
How did you know?
Look, I sent a letter that wasn't technically threatening, but did say that we have basically infinite money to pay lawyers for all time, and we will do so, and that they can't afford to do that. So why don't they just accept some money, and I hope you like it.
You are a fucking genius.
I know, so are you.
Yeah, I am.
So, what have you put in your ears?
Not a lot.
Also, not a lot.
Yeah, putting stuff in my ears is usually when I'm in the office by myself.
Yes.
Not doing... Yeah. And we've been doing a lot of being around each other in the living room, watching things and playing things. I did listen to a couple of episodes of Good Job Brain. Particularly was having a nice soak in the bath, which is a podcast I've talked a little bit about before. Listened to it years ago. It had a multi-year hiatus and then it came back, and I don't listen to it regularly, but I'll occasionally listen.
It's fallen out of rotation.
Yeah, I occasionally get into a mood where I just want, trivia to happen around me. It's why I've been binging a bunch of Actually episodes recently. But yeah, Good Job Brain is a pub trivia podcast. It's like, hey, there'll be little bits of, trivia quizzes back and forth, and then there'll just be a topic that they'll teach you about a little
That's the
bit.
one with Brent, right?
No, that was Trends Like These, which was a weekly news podcast. But yeah, this is a nice diverse group of people doing a little friendly let's talk about trivia and interesting factoids together kind of podcast. You trying to think of something?
I'm trying to think of what the quiz show with Brent was.
Oh, Question Box.
That's the one.
Yes, not strictly
not Trends Like This.
Yeah, not strictly a quiz show, but it was sort of
There's questions involved.
Yeah, there would be a question, but it was tell us about yourself via the medium of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I was on an episode of that once.
You were?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, Good Job Brain is just friendly, It's not the kind of trivia podcast that's gonna look down its nose at you for not knowing things already. It's
if anything, it's there to teach you stuff.
little facts are fun. Come learn little facts.
The facts.
Yeah. So I've been listening to a little bit of that. What about yourself?
I am trawling through that Lord of the Rings unabridged.
Yes.
Lord of the Rings, long book.
There was some stuff going on where Gollum didn't want to have leaf water. Doesn't like leaves.
He didn't want to eat lembas.
Okay, I caught that happening in the kitchen while you were cooking a roast.
I was cooking a roast. So they've got to Ithilien. They've met Faramir. Gollum's off at the moment. He's bound to turn up in any page now. Sam just saw an Oliphant. He's very excited. It's going all right. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not having to sit there and read it, and it's been nice while I've been spending 40 minutes to an hour in the kitchen at a time making roast dinners to just be able to have that one in the background.
Yeah.
But also om nom nom roast dinner.
Om nom nom roast dinner.
I think that's pretty much it. I've caught a few more SCPs as those have come up.
Yeah. I need to make time to listen to some of those.
SCP. Well, if you need other recommendations, I'm sure I can point in the direction at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a very listen. It's always a listen light time when
Yes.
we're off work together.
It's mostly let's play things together and let's watch things together.
Yeah, like maybe next week we might have some listens because
Maybe.
it depends if we have a wiggle at on New Year's. We might
Yes.
have some things we've listened to.
Yeah. Well, hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's everything I've listened to.
Well then.
Time for this.
Are you excited for the new movie?
Yeah,
Are you worried that you're gonna get spoiled about what's gonna happen in the new movie?
I'm pretty sure if I open social media right now, it's gonna be every post I see.
Try the anti-spoiler helmet. Just pop this Mysterio-looking shit on your head, and you'll be unable to see or hear spoilers for the media of your choice.
I can't see or hear spoilers for anything right now.
It's also good for people who just don't want to hear about some bullshit or other. The anti-spoiler helmet, it's for you.
I basically don't exist in here.
Doctor?
Oh, Doctor.
Yeah, long shift, was it?
Oh,
Yeah.
long one.
Long one, yeah. That happened again today.
Oh, no, again?
Yep. One of them came in, there I was holding surgery, and they bloody came in and they know about the weird trick that we hate.
Oh, God, another of those that comes in and goes, I know about that weird trick. You know, they come in and just sort of shout,
I've seen the listicle, I know.
I know about the one weird trick. I know it. It's not a secret. I know it now.
They know about the weird trick. They know about number 7.
Oh,
Surprise them.
Oh, I hate when they see if they'd have just stopped reading at number 6. It
Don't even get
it
me
wouldn't have been so bad. But
started
they,
on bloody number
oh
7.
God, don't even get me started on bloody number 7.
Number
You
7.
know about 7, 7, 8, 9? It's bloody number 7, isn't it?
Yeah, that too. I suppose that too. It was bloody. They know.
Bloody number 7.
No, I hate those bloody secrets.
Indeed, I hate when people know information that's going to make them healthier.
Ugh.
What do they think I got into this job for?
Exactly.
Keeping secrets,
I'm here for
particularly
the
number
gatekeeping.
7. Indeed.
Especially number 7.
Ugh.
They make us swear. It's part of the Hippocratic. It's the secret extra paragraph of the Hippocratic Oath.
Exactly. You must
Don't
not,
talk about number 7.
you must not do any harm to your patients, but also don't tell them about number 7.
Number 7. Yeah.
I have also heard about number 7. Oh, God,
get
it's
out of
another one.
here! Throw my stethoscope at you.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Brochure Justice Warriors.
Social Justice Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Larry. Oh, Barry, how you doing?
Well, I'm not bad, mate. Happy unicorn dance party.
Oh, happy unicorn dance party to you. You've been having some time off, had a chance to relax.
Yeah, a few days off, obviously spending it home alone again, what with the rise of the new variant.
Yeah, same.
A lot of friends been going out and enjoying themselves and stuff, but I've been, mostly sticking to my own.
I know. I've been mostly doing the same, but even if that hadn't been the case, I had a few invites of some family, some group gatherings I could have gone to.
Yeah,
I'm lucky enough that my family were very understanding that it wasn't going to be for me, but got me thinking about some people who aren't so lucky on that front, on festive gatherings.
Yeah. Oh, there is some people who's like, well, it's a tradition. You've got to spend it with the family. That's the most important thing. Spend it with the family, and for some people that's a bit much.
Yeah.
A lot of brain space, a lot of spoon requirement, and frankly, people are, quite stressed enough at the moment without adding, social requirements on top of that.
Yeah, I know I've had some years where it's been like, would you like to come to the house that is not your own house, that is not a familiar environment, where there will be lots of extended bits of family in the house at once, so you're going to
will
have...
probably be commandeering a small child's bedroom who is going to resent you the entire time you're there.
You are going to be cramped and not really have any space of your own to retreat to if you need it, with relatives of all ages that are going to create sensory information.
Yeah.
It's multiple days in an unusual situation with lots of people and forced socialising and sensory info.
And nowhere to retreat to in the event that it all gets a bit much.
Exactly. And even if you have that space, being suggested that it's rude for you to do so.
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough that it's understood. Like, I might not come along to those gatherings because that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot for me. But there's a lot of families that'll be a lot more sort of pressuring or shaming of neurodiverse folks being like, oh, what do you not want to be a part of the family? Do you not want to make the effort to do it? And it's like,
Yeah, people are very much like, I fully support you and I fully understand your, personal circumstances right up until the point it is an inconvenience to my traditions.
exactly. And like, that's the thing. Just don't shame or judge or pressure people into a situation that, while lovely and maybe the highlight of your year, is probably not organised in a way that has the needs of your neurodiverse friends or family members in mind.
No. And, hopefully people will become more considerate.
Yeah.
But as yet, a lot of the problem, that has not been yet resolved for the vast majority of people, unfortunately.
Indeed. And like I say, like, don't pressure or shame people into coming. Maybe another thing to add on to that, maybe adjust your traditions so that they can be more accommodating to neurodiverse family members coming.
Yeah.
And making the accommodations, making sure that those accommodations are made and are not, forced out in order to squeeze 2 more people on a bedroom floor.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hug, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nice. Good hug, mate. Good hug. Right. Oh, I think I might have a turkey sandwich.
Oh, sounds lovely. Sounds lovely. Chuck a bunch of stuffing in it.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, Laura,
Yes?
we've got a book.
We do!
Yeah.
It's called Who Hunts the Whale?
It is. We're at 71%.
Yeah, we're slowly doing that climb. We're getting there.
We are.
We're
We can
coming
get
up
us
on
to
3/4 of the way. We're
Yeah.
getting there. It's a book about the video game industry. How would you describe it?
I would describe it as a satirical look at the horrors of the video game industry and just sort of over-egging that pudding in ridiculous ways. And you can find out all about, like, just how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
With all the bits of gristle and abattoir floor that are involved
Indeed.
in making that particular sausage. And you can find out what the Focus Dome TM is.
The focus
And you
dome.
can find out all the names of energy beverages that we came up with.
Indeed, it's amusing. It's sweet. It's gonna make you hate capitalism. Plus,
It's probably going to make you laugh in some
Yeah.
places.
you'll occasionally get scenes written from like, that's a thing I wouldn't have known is the case, but maybe one of us writing has been in a room somewhere where things have occurred, where fiction has occurred.
Definitely fiction.
Rooms where fiction happens.
Definitely fiction. That's where the fiction happens.
That's where the fiction happens in rooms.
Yep, in rooms. We've got like a whole year in the games industry as people work to churn out the next iteration of a series. You can read the first chapter, the
Yeah.
first draft of the first chapter, over on unbound.com/books/whale.
Yeah, that's also where you can order a copy. You can get your name in the back of the book. You can get an ebook copy, a signed copy. You can get it signed alongside copies of my first 2 Unbound books, Gender Euphoria and Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. You could get it with a little swag bundle of Supremacy Software merchandise.
That's swag bundle.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, go check it out. Who Hunts the Whale? It's on Unbound. Go give it a look.
Get us there. Get us to the end.
Yeah.
We're so close.
We're so close.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What else? What else you do?
Laura K. Buzz, basically, all the places. Laura K. Buzz on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills, TikTok. Just Laura K. Buzz. Go find me in all the places. Laura K. Buzz.
Mhm.
Yeah. What about you?
Patreon.com/Stone to Monkey Radio. You can help me justify a 76-hour work week. You can help me justify all the time I spend and never resting and realising that I used to go for like walks in the evening or go out dancing in the evening just on a weeknight and stuff, and now I work constantly. Help me justify that, please.
I love you.
Otherwise, what am I doing? Streamerlinks.com/Janiac, JANEIAC. You can find where I do streaming and t-shirts I've designed. You can get a frighteningly gay shirt. It's got a cute little bun on it. That's most of my things, but most important one is Patreon. Thank you very much for all of your support, all the lovely people who already support me. You are valuable and good and wonderful and lovely. And I send nice messages when I send the early access episodes of Queer and Pleasant Strangers.
Yay!
Yay! What about about you?
Ah,
Tell us the goodbye thing.
until next time, be a stranger.
That's the one.